everybody. This is Matthias Lugberg again. Today I got Massimo Crippa with me. I hope I pronounced that correct. I have a
Perfectly.
with last names. I have a bad record, so I need to be perfect. Good.
Hey, Matthias, it was perfect. Nice to meet you.
Awesome. So I wanted to ask you a little bit because AI is everywhere today, and you seem to be active in very different areas. We have had a lot of chats during the last weeks, I would say. So where are your focus these days?
All right. So let's categorize very quickly what AI means for me. So I see AI, or I group AI with three islands. So AI as a personal assistant, like ChatGPT, to summarize, whatever things you do to facilitate, to make your life easier. So a personal assistant. The second area is all about agentic coding. So how do you use GitHub, Copilot, I don't know, Codex, Cloud Code, whatever tool you want to build, to deliver, to build code to deliver your product today. And the third part, how we are using, how we build AI apps. So it's all about, okay, what are we going to use? AI Foundry, any other platform, what are AI protocols like MCP, A2A, and all of these kind of things. So how to build AI apps. So can be a chatbot, can be other things, but like that kind of things. And those are the main, the three areas. So the personal assistant is democratized, so that's not my focus. Everybody using it. And I'm more looking at the other tools. So today's when it's about building AI apps, my focus is on protocols. So A2A, MCP, these kind of things. And when it's about agentic coding, my focus is I really love to understand these days how to use agentic coding to not build code, which is funny.
To not build code, that's a good one. I see you lighten up on that one. So that's can you tell me a little bit more about what do you mean by using coding? And is it only for coding, or do you use it for something else?
So yes, so today those using let's say that at Codit, where I'm working, we since 20 years we are doing integration. So, and over there we are building. We have our methodology. We build integration in a standardized way. We want consistent architecture, consistent naming convention, consistent documentation, and all of these kind of things. So we have our workflow, our methodology. All right.
Yep.
So, and if we want to automate and these or let's say to take this standardization and automate it highly. So in the past, that it required a lot of coding, a lot of complexity. It took forever. These days, we can use agentic coding. So, for example, Copilot, GitHub Copilot, to enforce these procedures in a standardized way. So they can make our procedure acceptable. So I don't want to reinvent, I don't want the agent to invent everything, but I want the agent to help me enforcing my way of working. So to help me implementing the way of working. So instead of not only doing on hold. Something happened.
I don't know.
It went on hold.
Yep. Are we still recording or?
Yes, it's still recording. So let me say so. So the goal is let the agent guide me implementing the way of work. So not building the code per se, but just like a sort of tool that takes hand by hand me in implementing this procedure, this way of working.
So in reality, all the standards that we have been working in the past, that has been up to every person to actually, go in and verify and actually work with, we now can get a lot better assistance on.
Yeah, so I mean, in details, what we are doing it. So we create commands, we create workflows, and all of these kind of things. Those commands and those workflow can go and fetch informations and let's say help you to apply this to make it to visualize a little bit. So suppose let's give it a name to this methodology. Let's call it magenta. I could I'm a developer, I want to do a new a new integration solution. So I can go on my coding agent and do slash or backslash Magenta init or Magenta help. And the tool will it will not generate code, but will tell me the steps that I have to go through if I call the Magenta help. Maybe the first step is the Magenta init, and this Magenta init will set up the solution 100% according to our guidelines. And maybe then the next step, what is the next step? So this one is just a command. And then what is the next step? So we can see now our standardized workflow. Next step is maybe to understand what is the landing zone, the infrastructure context, the project context where we are. And this workflow, that landing zone, could be a Q&A or also Q&A plus command. So the agent so I will start a slash landing zone or a Magenta landing zone. And then the agent will ask me, hey, Massimo, do you already have a landing zone? Yes or no? Or do you already have a subscription? Or do you already have a tenant? Can I scan that tenant? An example, if you want to do in a semi-automated way. If nothing is there, it might be a Q&A. You just ask me some questions, and then the result of those questions are saved in a memory bank. And that memory bank can be one or more memory bank, depending on which let's say, dimension of your SDLC you are managing at that point in time. And those memory bank will be then used in the next step. And that way, one of the steps could be like, okay, I go and fetch my SharePoint or whatever you have, wherever you have your GitHub repo, some of your knowledge, bring it down, use it, change it, help you to move on. Okay, are you missing this? Information, etc., etc. Then you also have personas. So we have commands, workflows, and personas. And then the personas are more like how to execute some job to a limited role. And then eventually it will end up in developing. But the key point of here is like just enforce a process in leveraging LLM. So you waste tokens to enforce a process. And one more thing, in the past, for example, I used the example of your solution structure. You could do with some templates, but those templates were all done by code. So you have to maintain all of these templates, and it was a lot of work. Very quickly, they were obsolete. Right now, you maintain these things, those structure, those things just in a markdown, and then the enforcement, it will be done by LLM, which makes everything super fast and super extensible. So as a developer, you can follow a workflow, but it's not strict. There is also the possibility to extend it the way you want or the way you need.
So in reality, we're into instructions and descriptions and standards that helps us make the process streamlined and easier. And as you say, don't need to go into details about how, I don't know, VS Code is working or whatever. You rely
the way that is working is not important. That is when you translate or like your methodology into a tool. So the tool helps you, or at least at our side, it helps you to make the story simple. So as a developer, I don't know, it's not necessary to know where all of this documentation it is. I have a guided process. I just start with slash Magenta init, and then is the tool that take me by hands throughout the step, and that it is the standardization level that we want to achieve. Is not only standardization because we had since years standardization, but making this standardization easy to digest, easy to implement, and also accessible.
That sounds really good, but I just want to ask you, is there any, it has to be some challenge in this, right? It can't be just sunshine story.
Yeah, that's a good one. So challenges are everywhere, of course. Today, my main focus is to keep it simple. To keep it simple because if you create a monster or restrict things, it will be difficult for adoption. So we try to have as less as common as possible. If there is a Q&A, you don't need 3 hours of questions to go to a point. People also want to just have some check-in, I mean, relatively quickly. Of course, then a real project requires iteration, improvements, and things like this. but just like we want to keep it simple for the moment, not over engineering, because it's so easy to extend. There is always the time to make it complex. Let's prove it that it works fine for your organization and that people love this way of working, and then you're always in time to build on top of it. So that's and why this is a challenge for me, because once you are in this vortex, you feel the passion. Oh, it works fine, I want to do more, I want to make it more complex. It's a little bit of like a developer approach, that you always want to do more clean, and then you have to find where to stop, and then use it and iterate it on the real work, and not on methodology too much.
I can really relate to that one. Yeah, it's easy to run into that rabbit hole of over engineering. So
Exactly.
how your experience so far, has it been easy to get developers using it, or has it been others?
This is okay. So I feel it's very easy to use it if your developer are already completely into the coding agents, because for them it's just like okay, with the command you install you have all of these commands at your fingertips. So there is a new integration project. The name of methodology. You just have to type that slash or that backslash magenta, and you get it there. So, and people loves those consoles. So it works if you're using Cloud Code or Gemini, or if you're using Codex. So it works in a console. It works in the Visual Studio Code. So it's really close to your let's say the development flow. And of course, again, developers loves their workflow, their way of working, and because it's not strict, so it's also based on Markdown, that it can always be easily integrated into a difference that the customer, a particularity that the customer has, because we are playing in the consultancy world, and it's a big difference when it's about standardization. If you are a product group and you are super extremely standardized, if you are in consultancy, you also have to be open to intake the differences of the customer. That's why this agentic coding makes this methodology standardization better compared to the past.
Cool. Very interesting. I like the topic. Is there anything else you want to share in this area for today? Because I mean, you have shared so much about this, about the agents and how to impulse this, and also, I mean, looking at the implementation. Sounds good. Sounds fun.
For today, I think it's okay. But if you are around Antwerp next week, I will be at Tekorama, and I will talk about A2A, so another passion of mine. So AI protocols in general, but with a deep dive into A2A. So if someone will see this video before next week and you want to come around Antwerp and ask and talk about A2A, I would be very happy.
That would be, I would definitely recommend it, because I know you do a hell of a show when you do the sessions. So definitely go and look at that one.
Thank you so much, Matthias.
Well, then I want to thank you so much for participating in the show, and thank you for today. And yeah, that's it for me.
It was a pleasure, Matthias. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Thank you. Bye bye.